Welcome to my basement. Today I'm going to quickly do an overview of this body solid cable crossover. After that, most of the video, at the end of the video, is going to be the assembly. Before I get into any specific details, the reason that I chose this particular cable crossover is because it fits in my basement. A lot of other products did not fit, and this only requires a minimum ceiling height of 6'11" according to the directions. Cost-wise, this machine was not too bad. I think it was $2,800 when I bought it on Black Friday. The quality is, it's all right, honestly. Now, this is made in China, and so there's a lot of visual imperfections, other imperfections, but the question really is it functional and is it durable? And I believe that it is because I used to go to a small gym, but a gym that was, commercial nonetheless. And they had the functional trainer version of this cable crossover, and it did hold up. I mean, sometimes it was out of order, but not that much. Overall, I think I made the right choice, but the main complaint that I have is it's wobbly. Now, part of that's on me. I have a rubber floor and a subfloor that does have some give. I have shims that I'm going to have to replace with more solid shims, but the feet are not moving this much. It looks like the problem is that the only thing that really holds the frame from swaying back and forth is very small gussets. I have a gusset right here, gusset right there. I mean, I think it would have been better for angle bar to run probably from the back side of here to the outside of a leg, and that would have fixed it. And I can do that later, actually. The pull-up bar is functional as well. I would like for it to have been wider, but it is usable, and the only concern, of course, would be the wobbling again. But I'll do some examples now. Aside from the wobbling issue, I'd say the only other real concern that I had with it was workmanship. I'm not sure if I mentioned that this is made in China, so there are going to be some quality and workmanship imperfections. It's not the biggest deal, but I'll put up some videos of what I'm talking about. As far as accessories, the basics are included. It comes with 2 ankle straps and then 2 handles as well. As far as functionality goes, even if I put the selectors all the way at the top, it's not so wobbly that it's a huge deal. If I had a lot of weight on, it would be a problem, but an example would be flies. There is certainly some movement. Taking a look at the selector, usability is pretty good. There's a plastic bushing on the top and on the bottom. Those are what ride on the selector bar, and it does take a little more effort to change your pin than it would in a commercial gym because those ones tend to be on rollers. However, for the price and for having your own cable crossover, that's pretty hard to complain about. As long as you put WD-40 on the selector bar, it's really not that much effort to move it around. It's just a little bit harder than in a commercial gym. I bought this body solid tricep bar separately, so this really has nothing to do with the cable crossover. However, I am going to use it so that I can do a quick demo of these weights moving. Overall, I think this is a very decent option for a home gym This is because of the mid-grade price and also because it's short enough to fit in people's basements or garages. As far as commercial gyms go, I do not think that this is the best option for a commercial gym because of how wobbly it was up top. Thank you very much for watching this brief overview. If you found that useful or entertaining, please be sure to hit like. That'll help me out with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I am going to be trying to make some more home gym related videos in addition to the other types of videos that I make as well. I think I mentioned that I'd be putting the assembly of this machine at the end of the video, and so that's actually now. I would like to just say that I did not assemble this exactly in the order that the directions said to. Welcome, today I'm going to be assembling a body solid cable crossover that I bought on Black Friday. This is the GDCC 250.1 and I bought it on fitnessdirect.com. This is because the shipping was free and the cable weight stack upgrade was available. The cable crossover shows up in 3 main boxes. This is on one large pallet, and then the weights are on the same pallet in their own individual boxes. Before I start, I'll put up a picture of some dimensions that were included in the directions. This will just give you a chance to pause the video and take a look at those. Starting on the right side, this smaller T is the outside piece. The larger T is the inside piece. And this part goes in the middle. I'll install the hardware on the outside. These are 75mm bolts. And then I'll also put a washer on the other side, and they come with lock nuts. I'm just gonna go finger tight for now. On the inside, it says to put 2 metal bushings into these holes. And if you lay out all your metal bushings, it looks like these are the intermediate ones. Then it says to put a pulley right in the slot, and you can tell which pulley you need because the 10mm hole is smaller than this 1/2 inch hole. This is too big. 10mm bolt. And I'll just put this nut on finger tight. Another 10mm bolt and a washer. And on the back, the washer, and I'll finger tighten the nut. I'll snap in these plastic pieces. This one on the end doesn't have a foot on it. The rest of them do have a foot. I'll now mount the selector bar right here. Another 10mm, 75mm long bolt and washer. And then a washer and lock nut on the back, finger tight again. I'll now take this pulley holder and I'm going to slide in these square nylon bushings. Facing the pin towards the front, which these numbers should also be facing, I'll just slide this on. That was pretty tight. I'll probably have to put a little bit of oil on here, but I'll do it later. I'll now install the upright frame right here, and these 2 holes go towards the top. I already removed these screws using this Allen wrench that it came with, so I'll put those back in. I'm going to leave the top pulley off here until I get the cable in, but I will put the bottom pulley into the pulley holder. This is a small pulley with a big hole. This is a 1/2 inch by 50 millimeter bolt. And these are, of course, 1/2 inch washers. I'll put one on the back and a lock nut. I'll now take this top frame and slide it into place. And I'll take a M10 by 85 millimeter bolt and washer. Slide it through one of these holes. And put a washer nylon nut, hand tight on the other side. And same goes for this hole. On this side, I'll put these screws back where they came from. These are also with an Allen wrench that it came with. I'll now put one of the smallest pulleys with the smallest hole right here. And it goes in with a M10 by 45 millimeter bolt and an M10 washer. I'll put some more of these plastic end pieces in, front and back. Next, I will take a M10 by 85 millimeter bolt, two of the longest bushings, the steel bushings, and another one of these smaller pulleys with a small hole. I'll put one of the large bushings right here, the bolt and the pulley. On the other side, I'll put the other bushing and the nut. And this is not going to fit good at first, but there's space because the crossbar comes across, and this is one of the bolts that has to go through. So there's room for that. It's just floating for now. Next, I'll take an M10 by 65 millimeter bolt and two of the smallest steel bushings. I'll put one here. And again, small pulley with a small hole. Alright, another small bushing on the back. And I'll put on another lock nut, finger tight. Next, I'll take a 3/8 by 3 inch bolt, two 3/8 washers, a nut, and the bigger pulley, the biggest one. And I'll put it right up top. I'm going to leave the weights off for now. I want to get the frame built on both sides and aligned while it's still light enough to move. Then once I know everything is in position, I'll put the weights on. So now I'll do the same thing on the other side. Both of these assemblies are up. I laid out my crossbar here, and that's going to tell me how close together they need to be. So I use that for an alignment tool just for now. Next, I'm going to take a level. I'll take a look at my basement floor this way and that way. And I'll shim up the feet as needed using piles of Gorilla Tape. I don't need that much of a shim, so I think it'll be all right. If I need to do better shims, I can do that later. I'll now take these guide rods, put on these rubber pads, one on each, and I'll slide them into these holes. If you have the cable weight stack upgrade, you don't need to start with these spacers. That's actually standing straight up. It is kind of wobbly though, so I'd keep a hand on it. Now I'm gonna push these weights over so that these guideposts can go into these holes. What I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna wrench these over like a lever arm. It might work, but it might bend them. So I'm gonna push the weights down from the bottom. Then I'm gonna keep these collars and an Allen wrench in my hand so that I can fasten them up top here. So I'll do that now. Now it's really wobbly. So I'll take the first one, collar here, put it on. Second one, put it on. The tabs go into the slots and I'll twist in, okay? So that's locked into place for now. And I'll use the Allen wrench to tighten the set screw. I'm not gonna go too tight, it is a plastic bushing. I'll now take this pulley holder, thread on a 1/2 inch chrome nut, put on a 1/2 inch lock washer, and thread that into the top of this selector rod. The directions are not too clear, but I'm pretty sure this is the time to take your pin and safety wire here, slide it over, and then this goes in the top. After that, I'll take my 3/8 by 1 3/4 Allen head bolt. It's me from the future. You're supposed to put a 3/8 inch spring or lock washer on the hex bolt and then put it in. I'll now take an M10 by 45, washer on both sides, pulley with a small hole, or a 10mm I guess. Put it right in here into this pulley holder. That's a bummer. And put a washer and lock nut on the other side. I'll now take my cable, my other pulley for the pulley holder, put it around, get the hardware in there, just finger tight. Bring this up and around, all the way over, and down, through here, around these two. Alright. Then it goes around this bottom one. I'm going to remove it. Alright, put the bottom one over and around. Put it back. Hardware back in. Alright, and on the other side. I'm going to remove this hex nut. I'll now strip back this much cable. I'll now put the end of this cable into this holder. And I'll tighten down the set screws. There's 2 on the front and 1 on the back. I'll now try to thread up this selector rod as far as possible so that I can get this 3/8 by 1 3/4 hex bolt into that hole without needing to pull up this weight. And that's about where it goes. I'll make sure it's in at least a 1/2 inch. Yep, and that's easily in a 1/2 inch. This is a 3/4 inch wrench. I'll now take some time and carefully put on these stickers. This top one is the first one. I'll put these plugs in these holes. I'll now tighten down all the hardware that I left finger tight.